Hey, what's up fellow anglers? Aaron LeSieur here, and I've got another episode of The Truth for you. It's number 6, and doing things a little bit differently this time. I've come up with Freebie Fridays. You'll notice that most of the episodes of The Truth are over on my Vimeo page. So I've decided I still want to provide some free content for you guys on my YouTube page, and I'm going to do it on Fridays, time permitting. Like most of you guys, I've got a 9-to-5 job, I've got a family and other commitments, so I'm going to try to get out there as much as possible, and I'm going to hopefully have something for you guys every Friday. Another way to bring you guys just some more information to make you and help you become better anglers. So you'll see in this episode, things are going to run a little differently. You're going to see some voiceovers. I'll pop in again and go over some information with you guys. I did it over a couple of days. I was out at Snodgrass Slough. I was also at Beaver Slough. And we're going to jump back and forth through some of the footage between the 2 days. It'll all make sense when you watch the episode. And hopefully there'll be a few takeaways in there that you can take out there with you out on the water and apply and maybe catch some fish. So let's take a look. Hey, what's up fellow anglers? I'm back and I'm out here at Beaver Slough. And I came out here last Friday, did a little fishing, and I've got some footage here for you on this show that I went up to Snodgrass, fooled around up there a little bit. I never really got on anything good. I caught a couple little fish on Senkos. Then it started to get a little late and I wanted to come out here. I wanted to do some more scouting and looking around on this North Delta so you guys could come out here and find some areas to fish. I have a little bit different conditions today. There wasn't as much of a breeze on Friday, and the tide was a little different, so I'm going to show you the 2 different tides that we had. Let's go look at some of the footage that I had for you on Friday. It's a little bit later. There's going to be some topwater action. We're going to go back through here and we're going to fish some mats. The tide's out. I'm able to see the edge of the mats this time a little bit better. Now that the tide's almost completely bottomed out, I can throw some Senkos underneath some trees. I'm going to show you that. We're just going to hop around and I'm going to show you just a few of the areas over here that you can catch some fish. And doing a couple different things. We're going to try to punch some fish. We're going to try to catch some fish on Senkos. We're going to try to catch some fish on some topwater. When you get way back in here, there's some wood. We're going to flip into that wood. It's after work. I came out here. This is one of the closest places that I can launch. So I'm going to try to get 4 or 5 hours in before it gets dark, and I got to head back, and hopefully I'll have some stuff for you guys that you can come out here with some waypoints and get on some fish and have some fun. All right, let's go fishing. Whoa! What's up fellow anglers? It's my first fish in Snodgrass Slough. Decided to come out here. I haven't been up in this area for years. Decided to come up after work, see what's going on, see if I can put something together. I brought the entire kitchen sink because I have no idea what's going on up here, what I was going to throw, what it was going to look like. I got a Senko, I got a frog, I got a punching rig, I got a spinnerbait, I got a crankbait, I got 2 whopper ploppers and a frog. I think I got all the bases covered for anything that this place can throw my way. There's my first fish of the day, got it punching. I saw my line jump. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but I caught a bass in Snodgrass and I haven't been up here for years. This place is cool because there's lots of current up here. I just launched over at Wimpy's. I came up about maybe a mile, and this place looks bassy everywhere. There's lay down trees, there's hydrilla, there's shade pockets. So I'm just kind of junk fishing and throwing whatever I can into every scenario to see what the fish are doing up here and just try to get a few bites, put something together, show you guys what's going on. I'm not going to drop a waypoint right here where I just caught a 6-incher. And also I got no drone shots for you this time because I crashed my drone last week in a tree in Tahoe, so it's at the shop. So the best we can do, we'll do some Google Earth action for you. So I'm gonna keep running around looking for stuff. I just punched that one, that was cool. And see if I can't put something together, put some waypoints down for you guys so you guys can come up here and maybe catch a few fish. Maybe, just maybe, I might catch a few big ones. Let's find out. Well, there's another one. It's the same size as that last one. Now I'm just pitching a Senko. I'm just trying to break this area down. I'm pitching a Senko into what looks like high percentage areas. Lay down trees, some shade pockets. I've had a couple of these little bitty bites going through here. Just don't know what these fish are going to be on and what else I'm going to find out here. So I'm going to keep on trucking. Keep on looking, keep on throwing different baits, throwing it at different areas of cover. I can see way upriver here, there's some good areas that we can punch. We're gonna be doing all that stuff today. So for the next hour and a half, I ended up fishing here in the meadows. I ended up fishing almost all the way to the very back. I'm throwing spinner baits here on the outside edges of weed lines and in weed clumps. Throwing the whopper plopper around any laydowns and any other areas I thought would produce a bite. And flipping into mats, deep ones, shallow ones, on both the right and left sides of this slough all the way to the back. You'll see I get one bite here and the fish comes off, and that was pretty much it. So then I ended up heading over to Beaver to finish out the day to try to see if I could find some fish out there and throw some top water because it was getting late in the evening. Oh, dang it. Okay, I hope you liked some of that footage from Snodgrass. I got a little bit more, but I didn't really get on a pattern or catch the fish that I wanted to catch. So there's going to be some fish catches, and I got some waypoints, just kind of like the other stuff. But I wanted really this time on this episode to show you kind of how I broke down the slough. Now you're going to see in the video, it's going to come up, I'm going to have some Google Earth shots with some graphs and cool arrows and stuff showing you points and wind blown points and that kind of stuff. It's really just to help you see an overall view from the time I started to fish it to the end of how I broke apart the slough with the different areas, the different techniques I used. That slough was really diverse. It had different, it had grass mats, it had grass troughs, it had a riprap, and then you go back there and it's got trees with brush and tules and overhanging shade pockets and lay down wood. So there's all these different ways to fish it, and I had all these different baits. So I kind of breaking it down. I want you to concentrate on the areas that I fished and what techniques I used because they were so diverse. And so it kind of gives you some ideas on how to break down a slough when you go out there on a new area, because it was almost like a new area to me because I hadn't fished it in so long and I had no idea kind of what was going on in that specific area. So check it out, and I hope you learn a little something by watching it. Okay, so in this area right here, it's pretty close to the opening. I went on both sides. That side over there, we're heading towards the end of the slough. That's the shallower side. This is the deeper side. The tide switched, and now the tide's moving back in, and we got wind and current pushing right up against this bank. I pitched to all these little points on the end of this big mat. Didn't get a bite. I threw some Senkos into the trees over here in the shade. No bites over there. I threw a chatterbait on the other side. So I'm just trying to figure out where these fish are at, how they're positioned, and how we can catch them back here. So just to give you some ideas of some of the things that I did real quick in this area. I fished it pretty fast, just trying to get a bite to pinpoint some of these fish. We're gonna keep making our way back towards the end of this slough and into the areas I caught them on Friday. Okay, so I'm still junk fishing my way back here. I'll show you, you can see I'm by these two big pipes, so give you a little reference point. I'm not throwing any waypoints down because I'm just going to every area where the tide or the wind is hitting on a point in this slough. Like this one, you'll see that, okay, you got two pipes right here, like this little point right here coming up. It's got a good little weed mat right here, so I'm gonna punch this outside edge right here to see if there's any fish waiting for that food to come to them, because the tide's coming in this way, the wind's pushing up on it, and we're still making our way back into the end of this slough. All right, so I'll tell you what, I went a long ways. I'm like halfway through this slough. I've got 0 bites. The wind picked up pretty good, and I thought we'd get some reaction bites going along this riprap, but I got nada. We're to the area here where it's got all the trees. So I got a jig out and a Senko. We're gonna do a bunch of flipping to see if we can't get some bites in this section back here with all these trees that are overhanging and creating a bunch of shade pockets. Oh my gosh, I caught a fish. What is it? Holy smokes. I've been back here for a long time. The wind is howling. You're going to hear it in the mic. I got to turn around. And flipping and pitching and top water and throwing a bladed jig. I'm hopping back and forth from side to side. This side's got some trees on it, and that's the first bass I've caught. What time is it? 2 hours. I mean, it's a little one, but I got a tug on the line. Holy smokes. Well, maybe I got something going on. If I keep going back here and fishing more of this wood, I might be able to put something together. Let's find out. Well, the Senko catches fish. My gosh, there's another one. Again, it took me a long time to catch this one. I'm way down this slough. It's just another 1-pounder. But I just got bit, and I haven't got bit for a long time. So I'm going to bring up this slide one more time of the Goggle Earth and the end of this slough and quickly talk about how I broke these sections down. In that section of tree and brush, I was taking my jig, skipping it under the branches or pitching it to the pockets and then hopping it back to the boat. And then when I got to a section where there was some brush or open area, then I would throw a crankbait out into little pockets or out in the front of these trees to try to get a bite. I went across to the other side, on that south side where there were just the trees, and over there I was skipping a jig under the trees into the shade and a Senko and hopping it around to try to get a bite there. As I moved down towards the middle, where that Thule section was, I basically was just pitching a Senko to every point or pocket on that stretch to get a bite. Pitching it and then moving it slow back towards the boat. Then I made my way down towards more to the end of the slough where all the trees and lay down wood were. And basically I was just picking the cover apart with a jig, pitching it to pockets on the wood or to stick-ups, anything I could see, and then throwing the whopper plopper in any alleyways or pockets of places I could get it to try to get any bites over there. So after picking all those areas apart with different techniques, I had about an hour left, so I decided to pack it up and go back to the area where I'd caught those whopper plopper fish on Friday and finish out my day there and see if I could get maybe 1 or 2 more bites. Okay, so I'm back, kind of back in the middle of the slough. I'm gonna fish here until it gets dark. This is the area where I caught them the other day. Caught a couple nice ones in here, and I've got a little time left here. It's only 7:30 before it gets dark, and I can fish here for at least probably another 45 minutes to an hour and maybe catch something in this area here. It's a good area. It's got some weeds, it's got wind, it's got some wood over here, and some deep water access. It's probably one of the deeper parts of this slough. So I'm gonna get to work and maybe put a few more fish in the boat before we call it a day. So here are these couple of fish catches I mentioned earlier in the video. Again, here in Beaver Slough, this is on Friday night, just after 8 o'clock. And I'm catching both of these fish on the Whopper Plopper 130. I'm paralleling the bank. and slow rolling the plopper over these weed beds, and these fish are coming out of about 3 feet of water and about 3 feet off the bank. Kind of the same way I've been catching most of my plopper fish here in Beaver. I'm paralleling the bank, riprap areas just over these weed beds, and the tide is high. So I just got done, I went all the way down with a whopper plopper on this side because it's blocked from the wind, and then on the other side I went and cranked because it has really good grass and a trough over there, no bite. I wanted to fish that side fast because I had a really big blow up on this side. I want to fish this stretch one more time. I got about 15 minutes left. I'm gonna give it a try. One more try. I know there's a big one over here somewhere. Whew. My gosh, that was a big one. Oh, I finally caught one. On this, yeah. Oh man, I was throwing that bait a long time. You just never know when you're gonna catch one. It's 2 pounds, but I caught one. I didn't give up. There are fish in here, few and far between though. I'm just burning the bank, taking this whopper plopper, just going down as fast as I can to try to beat the sun. Caught one right on this corner. Thought if I came back on the stretch I might catch one. I thought it was gonna be a bigger one though. Woo! That's it. Gotta call it, gotta get in before it gets dark. That's part of learning it's part of learning the Delta. Sometimes you go through these areas and you learn them and you fish them and you don't get the results you want. So let's talk rigging. Now I'm only gonna go over the rods and setups that I used out there that actually caught the fish. The other few rods we'll go over another time. I'm gonna be heading out to the Delta again shortly. I know I'll catch some fish on those and we'll go over those at that time. So the first setup, caught a couple fish on your standard Senko. Now, the water out there was a little stained up, so I went with a darker Senko. This is the black and red. I'm gonna give you a close-up view of this. It's black and red. I've got that wacky saddle on there that's black, and a Gamakatsu 5/0 hook there with a weed guard. I used the weed guard out there because I'm usually pitching into some heavy cover or some weeds. Just helps it not get hung up as much. And I've got about a 3 to 4 foot leader on this 15-pound P line. If you want more information on leaders, I have a new video up on my YouTube channel that goes over all the leaders that I use, why I use them, what lengths, and it goes into further detail. So you can see that on the YouTube channel. Now I've thrown this, you've seen this in other videos. I throw this setup on the Dobbins. It's the 703C. It's got the split handle on the end here, no full cork. And I got all the rod particulars here. A good rod, heavy enough backbone, long enough a 7-footer that I can pitch it or skip it into tight areas. It's a great setup out there, and it's got a Revo STX on there, 6/4-1, and I got my Power Pro 20-pound braid. And you guys know that's a lot. I'm a braid guy, and you guys know you'll see that in the leader video. Also, I talk about that. The other fish I caught out there and I was cranking is on a Demiki. This is the DC 300. It goes about 10 to 12 feet down. And that water is pretty stained up out there, and they're eating a bunch of shad. So I went with a straight white Demiki DC 300. Now I got this on straight braid. There was lots of heavy cover. The water was you could only see about 6 inches out there, and some of it was even less than that. It was pretty stained up at the very back of Beaver. So there's no reason to run a leader on this. They can't see it, and it's not gonna get fouled up on these hooks. So I just went straight braid on there. No need to run a leader back there. Again, like I said, it was pretty dirty. And 20-pound Power Pro again on this setup, Revo STX 6-4-1. Now this is on the Dobyns 705 CB. It's the crankbait rod, full cork handle here. Good parabolic in the tip, and it's got enough backbone to control those fish. Rod particulars are all going to be down here for you. It's their medium, kind of medium heavy crankbait rod. Works perfect for medium diving crankbaits. They have a 704 and a 703 if you're going to be throwing some lighter stuff on there that you guys can see on their website. Whopper Plopper, I caught the better fish out there on the Whopper Plopper, and I don't have a silent version in the white, so this is one of the very first, or the first generation now Whopper Plopper. It's the 130. And this is actually a custom painted one by Piz Customs, and you can hear the rattles in this one. Now that I've thrown the silent one, I got to get back on Tackle Warehouse and get another one, because I really don't like throwing this heavier one with the rattles in it. But it still did catch fish. I threw this on 65-pound straight braid Power Pro Revo, again, STX 6-4-1. Now I had my chatterbait on the other rod that I like to throw this on. And if you guys watch some of the other episodes, the DC 735, I had my chatterbait on it, so I went to my backup rod on this one, which is the Champions. It's a 734C SH. Again, SH means it's a split handle cork. Let's see if I can get it there. Right there, split handle, no full cork on this. Again, 734. Pretty similar to the other rod I throw it on in power, etc. I mean, this one's not full glass like the other one's full glass, but it still has a soft enough tip that I can make some accurate casts out there, and a heavy enough backbone to manage those fish. I still like it on the other rod better, but I only have one of those right now, and so I went with this one, and it worked great. I don't think I lost any fish on this at all. I can't remember. So that was the Whopper Plopper setup. The last one you saw in the very beginning of the episode, I caught that little small 1-pound fish. I was punching. I used this punch setup throughout the 2 days when I was punching out there, and it's my normal punching setup. It's just a 1.5 ounce. I'll get up here so you can see it. A 1.5 ounce tungsten weight. That's a River to Sea trash bomb. I've got 2 punch bobber stops on there. 65-pound Power Pro braid. And it's got a Paycheck Baits black and red skirt. And then I've just got a Sweet Beaver on there, and that's the black and red cross Sweet Beaver. It's the small one, not the double wide, the smaller version, not the smallest, the one in between. I don't know exactly which one they call it for that size, but it's the medium sized one. The one you normally see guys throwing out there on the Delta. And then this hook is also, that's the River to Sea punch and hook, the one that Ish Monroe designed. Like that hook a lot because it's got that second eyelet on there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a great bait keeper on there. And the way they've got this to stay on there with this black portion here, so that bait keeper never moves. It's a solid hook. That's a size 4, pretty heavy and stout. And the one thing to note on this setup, I'm not going to go over how I tie this because all I did was, it's just a straight Palomar knot. I know some guys like to do the Snell knot so it goes up to the side, but I've seen some conflicting information out there on the internet. Like actually Brandon Polnick did a video on it about why he likes to use just a regular Palomar knot, and I just wanted to give it a try to see if I had any or more hookups or any less hookups using it. So again, you're gonna see I got that. That's my setup. It's 4 parts. You got the bobber stops, 1.5 ounce tungsten weight, the skirt, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess that's 5, isn't it? Huh? 3, 5. Yeah. The beaver, and then your hook on that setup. The other thing on this braid is I'm using the Revo Rocket, and it's probably the first time I've showed this to you guys. A Revo Rocket is a 9-to-1 reel gear ratio. So that amount of high-speed reel allows me to be super efficient out there on the water, because when I make a pitch and it's taking up 9 revolutions to every turn, I'm able to get that line up quick and make my next pitch. So I'm able to maximize the amount of pitches I make throughout the day because I'm fast, I'm efficient, I'm picking up a lot of line, and when I get those fish on, I can really reel down and pick up that slack, and so I can just lean back on these fish and set the hook on them. So The Revo Rocket's a really awesome flipping reel to use because it does maximize your efficiency. I got this on the Dobbins. It's a 765 flip. It's their flipping setup. Really, really stout backbone, but it's got a nice, soft enough tip that you can still make good little pitches, and it's not so stout that when you set the hook on those fish, it doesn't have any give on there. It's not like you're throwing a broomstick out there. It's got enough little give so you can really just kind of lean back on those fish and almost let them kind of hook themselves. I don't like to do a really hard hook set on these fish because a lot of times what you'll do is you'll pull it so hard it'll just blow their mouth wide open on this big, big bait. So something I learned from watching Ish Monroe. This is not something I've come up with, and he's the master at flipping. He doesn't do these big jarring snap hook sets. He just says lean back on these fish, let the weight of the fish drive that hook into their mouth. And when you got someone like Ish who's telling you that's the technique and that guy's got a lot of success on the Delta, then I'm gonna listen. So Revo Rocket on there on the 765. I have all the rod particulars were already on there for you guys to see what the setup or the particulars are on that rod. Good, awesome flipping stick out there. So those are all the setups that I used. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll get to you guys. I'm in there every day, so I'm pretty fast at getting the responses to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. If you do subscribe and you want some notifications when new videos come out, make sure you click on the little bell, give it a thumbs up. Oh, and if you want notifications when the truth comes out in future episodes, make sure you subscribe to my Facebook fan page and my Instagram, because you'll get some information. You'll get the notifications when those come out. Until next time, stay focused, fish hard, and I'll see you out on the water.